Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining today in today's section. Well, what we are going to do, and with you actually today, is to really look at the future of retail and talk to you, providing you an overview on what retailers are doing at the moment in order to really face what we call nowadays the next normal. As already retailers are taking target investment in order to really overcome the stages and the phase of recovery and achieve the highest level of digital maturity. And well, looking a little bit at the past, at our IDC Futurescape Worldwide Retail 2020 predictions, already IDC predicted that by 2021, 80% of retailers will have implemented a retail commerce platform, with 35% of them achieving more than 10% improvement in customer experience metrics, such as CSAT, but also NPS. So it's already clear, and it was already clear before the pandemic and before the current changes that inevitably have impacted the retail industry, that retailers would have implemented and really invested on retail commerce platform, on related core capabilities and services that can really provide them through and by enabling the right technologies all the instruments to achieve the highest level of customer experience by measuring it through different instruments. Nowadays, we are not just talking about traditional metrics, but also new metrics, actually new KPIs that can really help retailers to assess the stage of their maturity level, understand where they are at the moment, what are the goals they want to achieve, and really measure the impact of the investment and the effort that they are putting in order to make the difference in the market. And well, this is not new. The retail industry is entering into a new phase. The current pandemic, COVID-19, have inevitably pushed and accelerated, in most of the cases, a process of digital transformation that was already in place for many retailers, but with an augmented and important acceleration on it up to 2 months of their planned investment on digital transformation. And well, this is even more clear when we look at the graph and we look at the differences across the last 10 years, how digital commerce and online sales have been impacted by the market and have changed. What we can see is that in the last month of this year, we assisted to an increasing spike in terms of online sales. That, of course, has impacted retailers in a different way. When we talk about retail industry, indeed, we refer to a very complex industry because there are different subsegments. Talking about essentials, and so food and grocery, for example, it's clear that retailers like Sainsbury, like Tesco, Ocado, Kingfisher have seen an incredible increase in terms of online grocery sales, but also new delivery options such as click and collect. And this is just clear not only in countries like UK, to be honest, but it's a trend that we are seeing all over Europe and also at the global level. So we are really in the process of digital transformation, and we are really in the process of transformation in achieving the highest level of digital maturity. As said, when we try to assess how COVID-19 accelerate this digital roadmap for retailers, we need to take into account some differences, and especially two main dimensions. On the one hand, the high and low level of digital maturity, and on the other hand, the low and high impact on the specific verticals when we refer to retailers. As such, indeed, there are retailers such as food and grocery stores, convenience stores, but also general merchandising, discount, home and garden, for example, that have been less impacted by the COVID-19 and are at the different stages of their digital maturity. On the contrary, companies belonging to the specialty sectors, but also apparel, footwear, department stores have suffered a lot as they have been more impacted by COVID-19 compared to other businesses. And for these reasons, the dynamics in terms of high or low digital maturity are different, not just across the different subsegments, but also among and within the subsegment per se. So we assist to different strategies and different combination of the two, with sectors that are lower impacted, but with a high maturity stages that introduce new innovative business model. On the other side, we have businesses that are taking the advantage, or better, the current challenges as a stimulus in order to really beat the competition, but also segments that have low impact and low maturity, and then use this moment of change as an opportunity to really invest in digital and close any possible gaps. But also companies that follow a more conservative path and decide to really review their financial management and their financial plans in order to being ready for tomorrow and basically to the next norm. But what is clear is the fact that these changes requires to retailers to really look at new business model in terms of acceleration their digital transformation. We do not talk about anymore about omni-channel, but we are talking more and more about commerce everywhere, as channels have been replaced by interfaces and touch point have been replaced by moments of interaction. In this moment and in this process, it's also important to look at the back office. So everything that has to do with supply chain and fulfillment in order to increase visibility and control, and not just in the front end, but specifically on the back end and the aspect of fulfillment of the different delivery options, for example. And this inevitably impacts the way in which nowadays the store, especially in retailer, is conceived. As it's important for the store to really being connected offline and online, delivering services, but first of all, delivering experiences, and becoming more and more a hub of partners, of services, of different experiences that can be really connected anytime and everywhere with customers, with consumers. Of course, there are still some challenges. Some retailers still lags behind, especially when we look at the two dimension of change. On the one hand, the business focus that lead toward acceleration, lead toward innovation, and on the other side, the economic situation. Well, this snapshot basically provides us the overview on what retailers are at the moment, and it's not a secret the fact that they're still in the process of economic slowdown, of recession in some cases. But what is important is to really remain focused on the business goals that they want to achieve in order to quickly proceed and advance and progress along this line toward the return to growth and the acceleration, but also toward innovation and really make the difference in the next normal. So basically, what retailers should have clear in mind is the fact that they hold the keys to unlock the future of retailers, and those keys are strictly related, as I said, to commerce everywhere, to smart supply chain and fulfillment, as well as to connected store. When we refer to commerce everywhere, we also refer to the technologies that can really enable retailers to achieve the highest level of maturity. That is also the highest level of customer experience through customer experience personalizations, but also leveraging the right technologies on that, such as AR, VR, next-gen mobile experience. Looking at smart supply chain fulfillment instead, IoT for supply chain visibility and control, but also AI/ML for order orchestration and fulfillment, and robotics for warehousing automation seems to be the top priorities among the technologies on which retailers are currently investing on. And this will lead them inevitably, again, as I said, to rethinking a little bit, to reimagine a little bit the role of the store. The technologies can inevitably, the different technologies and advanced technologies can inevitably support really retailers to achieve those goals. such as AI and machine learning analytics for merchandising and assortment planning, but also computer vision for traffic intelligence or self-checkout, as well as IoT, especially for in-store customer experience. There are also other aspects to consider, and particularly the fact that modernization, transformation, replanning on the one end, but also business demanding for more agility and speed from IT investment are really the key priorities and key point of attention and the drivers for designing and for deciding for retailers to use cloud services. And these are particularly relevant because these will drive inevitably retailers toward the next normal. Even when we talk about the retail commerce platform, for example, we do not refer to something that is not only is not monolithic, but has to do and is composed by the different core capabilities that we will, as we will see. But at the same time, it has a cloud structure and a cloud infrastructure that can better serve the need of the retailers really anytime and everywhere. So what is important at the moment for companies is to really put a hand in the now and the eyes in the future. This means benchmarking themselves against their own goals, their especially the long-term goals, but also against their peers, in order to identify what are the key priorities, the X programs, use cases, and design an entire digital roadmap that do not is focused only on short term, on what we call Horizon 1, but is also focused on Horizon 2, so mid-term, as well as in the long term, Horizon 3. Here I put just the example for you to know on specific fulfillment and supply chain specific roadmap. But this can be really extended, as you can see, is inevitably connected to the different use cases, to other programs and aspects such as customer experience and such as information, data collection, that can really and should be really put into a roadmap, into a digital roadmap, in order to identify the effort that you have to do now, in order to initiate quickly some project or initiate them as soon as possible, then prepare to start new project and reprioritizing if this is necessary, and then continue to plan, continue to innovate in order to achieve really the highest level of digital maturity. So to do so, as I said, as already anticipated, an important milestones that retailers need to take into account and into consideration is the retail commerce platform, as this is really essential to execute innovation strategy. As I said, the retail commerce platform is not something that is monolithic. It's basically composed by 4 core capabilities that are represented by customer experience services, commerce services, order fulfillment services, content optimization services. Everything is leveraged by AI and machine learning analytics as the really foundation of the platform, surrounded by end-to-end security, development, integration services through APIs, that can allow retailers to integrate to the core capabilities the existing services that are there, enterprise services, consumer services, as well as data services. So it's again an essential step in order to really improve and to execute all the digital program and the programs that you put in place within your digital roadmap. I will leave you with 3 key recommendations for the future of retail. We have seen what are basically the keys to really unlock the future, and what is the mindset that you really have to adopt in order to overcome this period, this moment of particularly of change that you are facing, you as a company are facing, with the mindset of putting the hands in the now and the eyes in the future. And what is important in that and within this context is to really have clear in mind where you are within the commerce everywhere. And as I said, this inevitably will lead you to understand your efforts and to assess your effort in terms of smart supply chain and fulfillment, the back end on the one end, and the front end on the other, meaning the connected store and the adequate technologies that you need to really make the store more and more connected. The way in which you do that is by laying the foundation and plan for the future capabilities. As I said, changing the mindset with the end in the now and the eyes in the future in order to ensure quick wins and long-term results. But what is also important is being sure of selecting the right partners, meaning your peers, but also and specifically vendor providers that can help you really in supporting you and share with you the success along your digital transformation journey. With that, I finished, and thank you all for the attention. And do not forget to get in touch with us for any questions. Thank you.